Alright, well we're back out here working on the old mighty Mongrel III, and some things I need to address before I drop the motor in. I'm almost ready to drop the motor in. I gotta finish doing the wiring, so I gotta put a wire from the starter solenoid in so that I can hook it up to the starter once I drop the motor in. I need to put a positive battery cable in and a negative battery cable in, so I'll probably get that stuff done. I also have some weird issues with the steering. The wheels kind of cam over a little bit too far because the tie rods are pushed too far out, but I can do that after the motor's on. Just looks funny, you know. Whoop, whoop. Anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and get working on that. I got to put the rod for the clutch in. Well, I got my brake all set. Who'd have thought that there would be 3 different length rods for that brake? And wouldn't you know it, the one that I took out of this tractor broke when I took it off. So I tried to get the little adjuster loose and it just flat out snapped. So I was able to salvage enough of the threads on the thing to put it back in because it was the only one I had that was the right size. Now I'm down to adding my battery cables to make this thing function once I get the motor in. So this is the one going from the starter solenoid down to the starter on the motor. Doesn't have to be very long. These are actually, I think, original cables from one of the tractors. They're pretty old, but they're still in good shape. The real key, the kind of annoying thing is where I put my starter solenoid is really close to the clutch. So I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to wrap this up with a little extra electrical tape before I put it on to make sure it's not going to get scored. Well, had to go get another roll of electrical tape from the house. I buy these in those big sleeves from Harbor Freight, like 11 billion rolls at a time, but for some reason I can never find them when I need them. So I made the smart decision to leave one whole sleeve in my closet in my bedroom. So I always know where it is. I don't know why I left it in my bedroom, but I did. So anyway, I'm going to tape up these things so that there's less terminal exposed. Gives me a little more peace of mind that I won't arc it out on something. That one looks alright. Ground doesn't matter because it's ground. And then this guy, I'll wrap this end up too. I even got the little boot on the battery cable here for the positive side, which is always nice. Give this a couple good wraps. That's good enough. Alright, this guy will have to get cleaned up with a wire brush because it looks pretty nasty. I'm going to wrap some electrical tape around this end too. So if you get trouble tightening up a bolt, you can get one of these little shorty wrenches. They work terrific. You know, it's like half the size of a normal one. You can get right on in there, tighten it up much easier. It takes less time because you can get a full swing on it too. forgot how heavy these are. Ow! What am I hitting? I'm hitting my frame. Great brand. I used 69 dash towers on this thing and they don't work. The motor doesn't clear. So now what I gotta do is come in here with a cutoff wheel and go bzz, bzz, cut that off so I can make the motor fit. That's what happens when you don't test fit stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and do that and I'll come back in a little bit. Well, there's nothing quite like ruining perfectly good brand new paint because you didn't plan ahead and test fit your tractor. Now I got probably 11 billion little rusty holes that are going to happen in this thing because I didn't cover it while I'm cutting. I'm just getting to the point where I want to get this thing done, and ow. Even though you forget stupid stuff like this, it adds character to the tractor. So again, I wanted this thing to look like an old piece of equipment, and it probably will. Oh, there's my notch for my motor. Hope the other side doesn't need one. I don't think so. No, it doesn't. I gotta get the flapper disc and clean that up a little bit so it's not sharp, and then I can put the motor in. Here's another tech tip for you. If you can't get the bolts in the bottom of the motor in the front of this thing, what I do is I take a 9/16 wrench, because that's what size the bolt head is, stick a 1/2 inch wrench underneath it, which is slightly smaller, stick my bolt in there. Now you can hold the 2 wrenches together and you can reach in and stuff it up through that front hole. Like so. Put a flat washer, and then a lock washer, and a nut. That's the hardest one to get to really on these Onans. Sure beats having to fiddle fart around with the thing. The rest of them aren't too bad. And I'm not sure, I think they're about 1 1/4 inch long bolt. They're the ones that have a small shoulder on them. These are grade 5 bolts, which is what I use on pretty much everything I do on these. They're the greenish color bolts that you get from Tractor Supply. They work really good, better than the grade 3 or ungraded ones. I already got a scratch on my engine. What is it with me scratching engine tins? Jeez, I scratched the red one too. I just realized I put the motor in without touching up that paint, but I'll have to get to that later. Well, tractor is not quite done, but I'm getting there. This time, in order to make the hood clear, I kind of just kept tweaking it until it cleared, and it kind of doesn't look terrific, but the last time I did it, I had to drill another hole further down in the hood and raised it up, and then there was a huge gap on the top of the hood. This looks better, for sure, and it works. It clears, it closes pretty well. And I'm still figuring out what to do with the exhaust. I'm debating 2 pepper shakers or a completely custom muffler like I did on the other Mongrel, or I might do a stack like I did on my snow blowing machine that has like has basically a splice connector in the middle of that, so it's a female and a male end with a big nut on it. So you can basically use all pipe fittings and then it threads together in the middle, so if you ever need to take it off, you can. I mean, the odd thing about that is they rust so much when you put them on that it really doesn't matter and you can't get them off anyway, but it's coming along. I got the motor in, I pretty much have all the wiring done. The nose is on, it fit pretty well. I had to do a little extra trimming on the nose, but it'll be good to go. Have the side piece I got to put back in. I have the headlight panel I got to put back in. But it's coming along. I got to finish up the rectifier wiring. I got to paint the seat spring and the seat. Still haven't figured out what I'm going to do for a gas tank yet, if I hang a big tank off yonder in the front of the tractor, or if I try to use a Suburban 12 a under hood gas tank and put it under the seat, or maybe I do something like put the battery under the seat and put the gas tank where the battery's supposed to be. I don't really know, but I'll figure something out. I definitely want to run a 3-point hitch on this one. I have a couple different hitches that I can pick from. I think I have a long handle black hitch I'll end up putting on this. Yellow's really growing on me. I still got to tube the back tires on this thing, but I'm loving it. I got to clean up the wheels and well, they're going to have wheel weight, so they don't need to be painted. They're good enough. Maybe I'll put hubcaps on the front to cover up those ugly wheels, because I think one's silver and one's white, or they're both silver or something like that. So it's coming along. That's the Mongrel III. I got to put a belt on it. I'm just about ready to put a belt on it. Finish up a couple wiring details, put a gas tank on it somehow, and I'll be ready to fire the thing up maybe the next day or two. Got to get some plug wires for it. I think I found 2 of them, new ones that I hadn't used. I got to dig around again and look, because I've since misplaced them since I found them. And I'm still debating whether or not I want to keep ags on the front of this thing. I think they look okay, but I think if I put tri-ribs on this, it might look even better. I don't know. I mean, I still have 2 more sets of tri-ribs over there, so one set is spoken for one of my tractors. The other one I haven't figured out what to put it on yet, but oh man, I love that color combination on this tractor. I don't even mind that I sold the other one, because this one's going to be pretty nice too. Just like my red Roper, I already scratched the motor. Don't know how I did it. Must have been when I was carrying it over. Must have scratched it on my belt loop or something. I don't know. And you guys saw me cutting this chunk out here, so I'm going to have to touch up the paint there, but motor fits. I'll have to make some little covers to go here and on the other side around the clutch, because now they're odd shapes, but it's just such a compact little machine with a massive motor sticking out the side. I really like the way it's coming out. So that's going to be it for today. It's getting late. I need to go eat dinner. It's about 8:15 or 8:30, something like that. So thanks for watching from Cranky Motorsports. Have a great day. God bless. Keep tractoring.